Okay.
All right. Hi, Ava. I love your
Hi, Kelly.
background.
Oh, yeah, I'm coming from my virtual studio today. Check it
That's
out. There's a
awesome.
weightlifting equipment there, a Nautilus set, and treadmill there.
Thanks for meeting with me today and taking on this topic, because you know that this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart for many, many years now.
Yep.
So
where do you want to begin with it?
I wanted to
talking
ask
about
you,
personal training.
I wanted to ask you if you have a background in personal training, or is it more specific to Pilates?
No, I got my Pilates certification first. That was my first entry into the fitness world. And then I was a certified personal trainer, I would say from 2005 all the way up to 2010. So about 5 years, I was a personal trainer. I mean, once you're a personal trainer, you're always a personal trainer. It's just whether or not you keep your certification, right?
Exactly.
I let my certification go because I kind of just wanted to work with more people in the Pilates world. I was starting to get known a little bit more for that. And that was something that was more of a specialty in what I really like doing.
Exactly.
But yeah, personal training, I did that for about 5 years.
And
so how long have you been a personal trainer?
It's been like 21 years. I can't believe it. I feel so old, but it's been a long time. And starting from little mini certifications and working my way up to the ACE personal training was a big deal for me.
Okay.
And that was a heck of a test. It was costly test and a heck of a test. But when I found, and I remember thinking this when I was taking the test, was that a lot of the questions are not real life questions.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, it's a lot of, anatomy, physiology, how the body works when it comes to heart health and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's stuff that your regular lay person would not ask, but things you should know, especially if you're working with someone in a clinical setting.
For sure, definitely. So some of the questions that I got asked over the years, and you can answer this specifically for yourself if you wish, or for clientele, they ask me if I ever lack motivation.
Well, are you asking me now, or are you going to kind of talk about how you feel?
I'm going to answer it too after you answer it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we are human beings. I think that we lack motivation from time to time. I mean, I have a personal love for exercise, so my motivation storehouse might be different than someone else's for that particular thing. But yeah, motivation is firmly attached to emotions, and it can be triggered or it can be denied just based on how you're feeling. I don't feel like going out the house today, so I'm not going to work out. Again, a lot of people don't necessarily make the connection that it is an emotionally driven thing. So in order to maintain your motivation, you really need to have a really strong underlying base factor for why you want to do whatever it is you're aiming to do.
Absolutely.
And oftentimes when it comes to having a deep-seated root for exercise, it's usually based upon a condition, or keeping yourself healthy, or just because you really want that aesthetic look,
right,
or the feeling that comes from it ongoing. Yeah. What about you?
And so just to piggyback on that, I would say ditto to my personal training motivation. I just have to say ditto. But to piggyback on that, I would say the goals that we talked about way back a couple weeks ago is a big thing. It's a daily goal setting and very specificity with your goals. Where do you want to see yourself and what do you want to do? And it is a lifestyle over time. So for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with myself. My goals are daily with my calories. My exercise is gold daily.
Yeah.
I'm on a regimen. I'm on a regimen, and that's my lifestyle regimen. And it changes, because if I didn't change it, then I would hit a place where I wasn't able to get better or continually get better. And that is a struggle with ongoing athletes. But just to stick to our little questionnaires here, I have a question that one of your people was asking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
Which person
let me
now?
just
Because I need to
clarify
shout
who
these
it
people
is.
out, Kel. Probably Jenna Renee.
Jenna Renee, what are some of the motivating ways to stay consistent in a journey that can be frustrating for most? Did you get that?
Yeah, yeah. I think Jenna created a really great question with that one, because it's a journey, and a journey lasts a lifetime. If we're talking about it's a lifestyle, that means the duration of your life. So how are you going to answer that?
The most motivating ways to stay the course are to have those, have someone to rely on, like a personal trainer or a coach. So often when people talk about personal training, they think about it as something that can be temporary or permanent. It's optional. I used to go under the idea that you shouldn't go living without me, because how could you stay that accountability? But initially in my career, my whole idea was, let me just help to get you started. And the biggest problem was keeping them accountable. So I think that having someone to fall back on to ask advice, like texting you or sending you an email, just finding out ways to stay motivated, maybe joining a race, doing something as part of a group run, a group walk, a counterpart that you have the same level of fitness with without paying them any money. Either way. So as a trainer, we like to stay on for the long term. If we can't, we would make suggestions, create a program for you, and then let you build off of that. And having friends that are like-minded can definitely help you.
Absolutely. One of the key things that she mentioned in her question was, how do you maintain consistency? And I think one of the biggest parts of maintaining consistency is always being flexible with change. You know, you're not going to like the same thing the duration of your life. You know, you might want to run a marathon one year, the next couple years later, you may get tired of that and you want to start some kind of dance class. Or you want to, you know, you get tired of doing traditional weightlifting and you might want to lift lighter weights or do something else that's body weight connected. So keeping yourself open to change, being creative. There's a bunch of C's that are linked with consistency.
Yes.
So being committed, being consistent, respecting change, maintaining creativity. Those are all keys to making this a lifestyle for yourself, because it takes a lot of different gamuts and facets to make it work.
Yeah, and another thing I just want to mention, which is so important, find fitness that you love to do. Once you find a thing that you love to do beyond, it's no longer difficult to get up and do it. And then you start to become part of the muscle memory. I am so ingrained, it's so ingrained in me, and I love it so much that I do it every day. So that can also help with maintaining over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Jenna. Thank you.
Yeah, good job, Jenna. And hey, reach out to us if you need any help. So Ava, what is your experience as a coach? What are the greatest qualities that a coach would embody, in your opinion?
I think the ability to listen to your customer, your client, the person that you're committed to helping, and really take into consideration what they want for themselves. Even if they don't really fully know what they want, they have an eye. And when I say that, it's not to disrespect anyone's thinking, right? Sometimes we think we want to look a certain way, but our body is not built to do that or look that way, right? So kind of like meeting them in the middle, you know, I always wanted to look like, I don't know, the latest celebrity without naming a celebrity, right? I always wanted to look like this person, but they're 5'3". The person they're calling out is 5'10", and this person has maybe more of a different bill. You know, there's three types of body, endomorph, ectomorph, mesomorph, and they're more maybe of an endomorph, and they can't gain as much weight or, you know, have that same physique. So meeting that person in the middle, educating them when they ask for it. A lot of times it's none of our business to spew out a bunch of facts and information that they don't want, but listening, providing the information and education as it's fit, and being committed to their goals, not yours for them. What about you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So early on in my fitness career, I was like, get down and give me 50 push-ups.
Me too, Cal.
And
I was like, what's her name? That one trainer, we won't name her, but the one trainer that had the habit of yelling at people.
Not Jillian Michaels.
Oh, I didn't say it, but I was just saying, I don't even think she does that anymore. But that used to be the thing, to scream at somebody at a boot camp, as if, you know, boot camp came from that from the army. And so the whole philosophy was like, I'm going to scream you into shape. I'm going to demand you into shape.
So it's funny, because going back to what makes a good coach is really recognizing who you're dealing with, what their personality type is like, and talking and repeating back to them what they're saying to you so that they can digest it. So 4 different types of personality types that I can relate to. Some people really like it when I yell at them. It's actually uncomfortable for me, because I've matured so beyond that to the educational realm. It's hard for me to yell at someone, but if I know that they like that, I will come down on them like that. So understanding their personality, if they're that outgoing, or if they're intrinsic, or if they are, just understanding the way that they are as a person in their everyday life, talking with them about what's important to them. They're going to show you all kinds of cues that they may not say, but you can start to pick up, you know, as a coach.
Yeah.
So do you ever get tired? Here's another question we have. Do you ever get tired of saying the same thing over and over again?
I thought about that. That was the one question when we were gathering some things that we would want to discuss between the two of us today. And that question was something that I did stumble on, because in the world of Pilates, you are cueing incessantly and saying a lot of the same things. It's important to do it because, you know, it's such a tedious kind of workout that you need to kind of remind people of how tedious it is. So I would say I don't mind repeating myself. What I do, what does drive me a little batty, and I think a lot of trainers, a lot of coaches will say this, are the lack of response sometimes from your partner. You know, I partner with everybody that I work with. And I do, if I'm doing my share, sometimes it's hard to work with someone that's not doing their share. But that's just, you know, that's what comes with it sometimes. And sometimes you got to dial things back if they're not meeting you at that level that day, you know? We all show up different sometimes. How would you answer that?
It's a tough question. It actually is a tough question. As far as the cueing, we're always saying the same things over and over again. And again, it goes back to who you're saying it to. So you might have to say it in a different way, but it says the same thing, but it might cue differently with each person. And that has to do with, yes, your coaching skills and putting things in a different way. Even with myself, I know that I react differently when people say things in different ways to me. So I think that that's the way I would answer that. What bothers me the most in my career as it relates to repeating myself is people not listening. Like you said, the response. The response is because they're hearing it all the time and you're saying it all the time and we're both doing it for one reason or another, but it's like you said, you don't know how they're showing up that day. So that's important to say. And I do appreciate you saying that. From Tia Gross, one of your friends, tips on losing belly fat, foods to avoid, best exercises. Any ideas for Tia?
Yeah, I want to tie in a question that you had also. It's discussing intermittent fasting.
Yes.
I think that is a great way to target belly fat, right? Because let's just break down what intermittent fasting is. It's just fasting for a group of hours before you eat, and it's usually a group of hours that you maintain a discipline for, a couple days or for a week long, or you make it somewhat of a lifestyle for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not usually the bedtime to morning fast that we typically will honor just as a way to get sleep. It's more of an intention to decrease inflammation and to work through glycogen levels, cycles, right? So I think one of the biggest ways to help target belly fat is if you cut down on inflammation and inflammatory foods, and then space out the time in which you're eating those kind of foods as well.
Well, putting the belly fat and the intermittent fasting together. Belly fat is especially, she says specifically belly fat, and that is focused in, as soon as I think of belly fat, I think of visceral fat, the most
and the cortisol
fat.
Yeah.
That toxifies our organs as they're up. That's the part that becomes most toxic. So we definitely want to try to decrease any level of belly fat in any way that we do that, through burning calories, through intermittent fasting. My own experience with intermittent fasting is daily. I do it daily, and I do it for 12 to 15 hours. And it can be whenever you decide to break the fast. So if you wake up at 11 o'clock and you decide to break the fast at that time, it's completely fine. All of the old rules have been thrown away. It doesn't really matter what time you get up and you eat anymore, as long as you're eating to mobilize the metabolism. But intermittent fasting, like you said, it helps to regenerate our cells. It helps to work on other parts of our body so that not all of that energy is going towards digestion. So
absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought up what belly fat can do in a harmful way, because it is in that area where all of the organs are housed. Great call out with that one. And there's the age-old thing of, can I do 1,000,000 crunches to target my belly fat? And we all know that's the one you want to throw away as well.
Yes.
That's an old myth. You can't just spot train that area. Now, people say you can't spot train things. You can, but the belly, you can't. You can spot train other areas, though.
Well, what happens is it's an overall thing that happens. So if I'm targeting my glutes for that one day, I am targeting them, and that's a spot train. But there's no way that I'm going to be able to center in on that and make it bigger or larger or smaller based upon your body type, like you talked about before.
True.
And I think on the second part of Tia's question, foods to avoid, Tia knows the foods to avoid. She knows. We all know
it's the 3 S's.
Go.
There's the big 3 S's that I think people should avoid, and it can be with body fat or just overall health. Those 3 S's are refined sugar. The S is the sugar part. Excessive sodium, and then saturated fat. Those are the three big S's one should really avoid, and those, if you spend your time minimizing those, then you're okay. Honestly, what do you think, Kelly?
Well, there's 2 things I want to mention, really, just that. Your foods to avoid, your diet, and everybody asks me this too. I mean, nutrition is key when it comes to having a healthy body, a body that looks good, that looks like it's exercising. You have to maintain a specific diet. You can't pretend that you're going to eat whatever you want and exercise. It just doesn't work that way. If anybody asks me, the first question they ask me, how do I get into shape? I say, watch your diet.
And what's the percentages on that, Kelly? Compared to exercise?
I don't.
You do now.
No, I don't.
There's that little typical, we don't know how true it is, but it's the 80-20.
Yeah. It's an
80% nutrition, 20% exercise.
Right. Absolutely. So we definitely need to find a diet that's working for us. Maybe MyFitnessPal, maybe you definitely keeping track of those caloric intake for your height and weight and all of that good stuff. And we can get into more details with that.
How do you feel about calculating macros? Oh, sorry.
The idea. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially a diabetic, I think, would definitely gain a lot of knowledge from macros.
Yeah. Why don't you explain what macros are really quickly?
Our macronutrients are three of the basic foods: fats, protein, and carbohydrates, broken down into various percentages based on training. Like you can increase them or decrease them based upon your training goals. Let's see. So she also indicated at the end of her question the best exercises. So right out of the gate, I'm going to say from crunches to planks. Don't do any crunches, just do planks. That's going to be for the belly. What do you say?
I would say along with the planks and the crunches, you said to stay away from crunches?
I just say that if you're going to weigh a crunch and a plank, I would definitely do a plank if I was going to have a choice.
Yeah, I would do the plank too because it works for all intents and purposes. It works all of the abdominal areas of the body. And in a plank you can do at 360 degrees. A lot of people don't know that you could do a reverse plank now. That's a hard plank. Do you know what I mean?
That's going to be hard. Now I go up on
That's a hard plank. I would go back into my gym studio and show you that real quick. But you know, I already worked out today.
That's the next video.
That's the next one. But along with the abdominals, getting some kind of cardiovascular activity, whatever your preferred method of that is, you know, whether it's running, walking, swimming, dancing, get some cardio going, you know, because that's going to burn overall.
Well, yeah, weight bearing exercises are going to be better for your belly in terms of losing belly fat as opposed to maybe a cycling. And I don't know if anybody knows that or cares about that, but I'll just mention it.
I didn't even know that. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Well, one of the things you'll think about when you see a runner is that runners they're always pretty much tight, right? Tight and right.
Yeah.
And it's because they are in a core movement the whole time that they're running. It's in a core pose and they're burning fat simultaneously. So it would be best to be walking, running, doing a weight bearing exercise, but maybe your knees won't allow that. So you have to get on the bicycle or you have to go swimming or do something like that. It's totally
or some kind of elliptical.
Ellipticals.
Because the elliptical.
Where's your elliptical?
Work too, because you're maintaining that upright position.
That's right.
Oh, I don't have one here. I just have the treadmill.
What are some of the
I also had a question that came in late, Kelly. I'm going to pull it up, okay?
All right.
Give me a second here.
Now, while you're looking that up, I'm going to talk about the best books I've read as it relates to weight loss, running, walking, and nutrition.
Go for it.
Real quickly, that one that I'm reading right now is called Thinner, Leaner, Stronger by Michael Matthews. I really like it. Very practical information, all the normal stuff, none of the fad stuff, and I really like it for that purpose. And we talk about a 30-day trial in that to just get on track with keeping track of your diet and your exercise routines. An 80-20 running guide by Matt Fitzgerald is doing 80% of your running under your target heart rate zone, so it doesn't make it difficult. It makes it a little easier. And then 20% done in that working heart rate zone, which actually makes you a better overall runner in maybe 30, 60, 90 days. Understanding Nutrition is another one of my favorites. It's an overall book about the knowledge of protein, like we talked about the macronutrients, basic nutrition standards by Eleanor Whiting. That's one of the favorite old go-to books. I'm not sure if you've ever read it. Another one of my favorites is Born to Run, Just the Story of Running. As you can see, I like to run, but if you're not a runner, it's still a good story. It's a very funny story about the long distance runners, the Talahumara runners by Chris McDougall, and it basically started our love with ultra marathoning in the United States. So
awesome. Are you going to pop all of those titles in the comments section after this, or, you know, wherever we post it on our social media pages? You're going to pop those titles? Cool.
Yes.
All right, I found the question. It's kind of similar to the questions previous, but we know she took the time to write it out, so I'm going to just bring it up.
Nice.
It's from LaShonda Roberts, and she wants to know, what are the dietary necessities when losing weight? It's kind of a similar question, but it is a little bit different, because now we're talking about what is necessary to eat. We talked about what we shouldn't eat, right? The 3 big harmful S's. Now, what do you think someone should eat that correlates with losing weight?
Okay, so the goal that she's saying is that she wants to lose weight. The clarification has to be whether or not she'll be doing strength training during that time. And the reason for that is because if you are doing strength training, there has to be a level of not a caloric deficit in order to maintain growth of muscle growth to happen. So that's the question. She wants to lose weight. She can just take all the tidbits that we just gave, all of it. And as it relates to a healthy diet, it's keeping track of your diet, your macronutrients, and making sure, talking with a nutritionist, talking with myself, talking with you about what her macronutrients should be for her goals. So maybe caloric based and how many percentage in each of those macronutrients. And then MyFitnessPal calculator breaks that down for her. I know you're going to have a little bit more of a detailed answer for her.
Well, I think you had the detailed answer. I think that's fantastic. And I think that she may, remember, Kelly, me and you come from the same world, she may be like this. Macros say what now? Weightlifting say, huh? So I think what most people want is to be told what to eat. And we know that doesn't always work, right? But let's just do some for instances. So she's like, all right, well, I'm going to give you a couple examples, Kelly, and maybe you can break down something and simplify it for me. So I'm speaking for Latonda. Okay. So Kelly, I work out 3 days a week. You know, I only do the strength training when I work out with you once a week. And on the other 2 days, I'm running. I want to lose weight. What should I eat? I'm open to eating a lot of things. Please tell me.
Yes, I will tell you.
That's what we get.
Thank you. I do appreciate you breaking that down just the way that you did. Each of your workouts needs to be fueled with your diet. So if you're doing an aerobic activity, like running, you're going to need to fill up with a carbohydrate in order to fuel your workout. The same thing happens when you're lifting weights. If you are a man going into a periodization program or a woman, and based upon what you're lifting on a daily basis, you're going to have to increase your protein intake in order to have muscle growth, increase your carbohydrates, and you might even do that in what they call a post-epoch window. There's a very technical term, a window of time after your exercise that you might want to consume your protein for a better way for the body to absorb the nutrients into yourself. Maybe you're someone like me, I don't like to eat when I wake up in the morning. And often I'll go running on an empty stomach, or I'll train on an empty stomach, but make sure that I refill my stores within an hour of that workout per se. For me, that works for me. Each person's specific, and each person should definitely spend the money to have a nutritionist, dietitian, personal trainer, give them a personalized program just for them to start with for 3 to 6 months based upon their schedule, fitting it into their regular schedule, just to get that professional little bit of advice is very much worth it. You had mentioned before that there are some wellness credits that might be available to some people that they could utilize it and learn so much. But breaking it down really specifically to 2 cups of this per day really has to go into whatever that workout is.
Yeah, perfect. And a lot of people don't associate fitness and fuel. So that's a perfect marriage to get close to whatever goals you want when it comes to your body. And when I say close, people seem to never really be 100% and satisfied with the way they look or how it's always an aspiration for more for some reason, even with myself. So Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's wonderful tips. You got anything else?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a new program that I'm rolling out for healthy lifestyle. And
Ooh,
that is an accountability program. What it does is you virtually touch in with a live personal trainer like myself. Ava, you call your girlfriend, Kelly, what do I eat? And this program is already created for you. So it's specific to you, Ava, but you're having issues with it. So that trainer's checking in with you daily via text or phone call, email, and then they hold you accountable for, say, a week of an obligation or a month of obligation. So we're rolling that out. And if anybody's interested in learning more about that, they can contact me at healthylifestylenow3@gmail.com. And I'll write it in the
that's awesome.
comments. So anything else you wanted to add?
Nope, I'm good for now. I think the conversation that we had and the questions that were posed, hopefully will help someone along the way. And I just keep looking forward to doing this whole work that we have decided to be purposeful for our lives and continue to help others.
Absolutely. I love that. Couldn't have said it better myself, my friend.